What happens when personal trauma meets a public timeline? In today's story, we follow a young woman who thought going no contact with her mother would bring her peace until TikTok got involved. What started as a vulnerable post meant for her followers turned into a viral family feud when her mom uploaded her own side. In an era where followers feel like family and likes feel like loyalty, what's left when your real family fights back?
I told TikTok I was going no contact with my mom. Then she stitched the video, and suddenly it started a viral war neither of us can win. I didn't think a single TikTok video could change the trajectory of my entire relationship with my mother. But here I am, sitting in my tiny apartment, watching strangers dissect my childhood trauma like it's part of a Netflix docuseries. The video was less than a minute long. I didn't even plan it. I was just lying on my bed scrolling aimlessly through my FYP when I saw another creator talk about going no contact with toxic family members. The comments were flooded with people sharing their stories, daughters, sons, even cousins, people who finally drew the line and said, enough. And I thought, me too. So I hit record. I didn't name her. I didn't even say mom. I just talked about how growing up, I constantly felt like I had to manage someone else's emotions before I could even understand my own. How I learned to hide my feelings because expressing them meant being told I was too sensitive, dramatic, or ungrateful. The way she used to go days without speaking to me as punishment. How birthdays felt more like performance reviews. How I once apologized for being upset that she forgot my graduation. I ended the video saying I've decided to go no contact. It hurts, but I feel free. That was it. No rage, no accusations, just truth. It got a few likes at first, then a few thousand, then 100,000. I went to sleep with 7,000 followers. I woke up with nearly 30,000 and a message from my cousin. Did you see your mom's video? She had stitched mine. It was her sitting in her kitchen, crying into the camera, saying she didn't recognize the person I described, saying she did the best she could. She looked straight into the lens and said, if my daughter wanted to hurt me, congratulations, you did. I couldn't breathe. I watched it 3 times in a row. Then I looked at the comments. People were calling me a narcissist, an ungrateful brat. Others were defending me, saying emotional neglect is real. But it didn't matter, because now the algorithm had turned my family into entertainment. I didn't plan to respond, but my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. I couldn't open TikTok without seeing a dozen new stitches, duets, comments, some analyzing her tears, some calling out my cold delivery. One person said, she sounds rehearsed, like she's used to minimizing her pain. Another asked if this was just a clout-chasing stunt. I wanted to scream, or delete the app, or run away. Instead, I recorded a second video. This time, I clarified. No, I don't hate my mom. No, I didn't post that video for attention. I just needed to finally say it out loud to someone. And honestly, I didn't think anyone would care. But they did care. Too much. And so did my mom. A week later, she texted me. The message was short. You happy now? The whole world hates me. I didn't respond. Not because I wanted her to suffer, but because I didn't know how to respond. This was the woman who once told me my depression was just a phase. Who told our pastor I was being dramatic when I said I didn't feel safe at home. Who posted perfect Christmas photos every year, even when I spent the holidays crying in my room. And now she was crying on TikTok because I spoke up. Suddenly, everyone had a take. Family members I hadn't talked to in years were calling my dad. Friends from high school messaged me saying I always wondered what it was like living with her. I realized something terrifying. I no longer controlled my story. The internet did. Still, part of me felt seen. For the first time, people were validating what I'd felt for years. One comment read, "This is the first time I've ever felt like someone put my childhood into words." Another person said they'd been afraid to go no contact too, and now they were reconsidering. It was bittersweet. I had finally said something real, but in doing so, I'd triggered a chain reaction that I couldn't undo. And my mom? She kept posting. She made 3 more videos. One of them showed baby pictures. She said things like, "This was the little girl who used to sing in the car with me. I don't know where she went." Her followers were eating it up. Some even started tagging me, demanding a reunion arc. I wanted to disappear. Instead, I stayed quiet. But silence online speaks volumes, and in that silence, more people filled the void. Some told me to sue her for defamation. Others told me to forgive her. And some just said, "This is why family drama should stay offline." I wanted to scream, because I never wanted it to be like this. What started as a personal step toward healing had morphed into a public custody battle for control over the narrative. My pain had gone viral. My piece was being debated in the comments. And my mother, the woman I was trying to escape, was now trending on the same app that gave me my voice.
If this story hits close to home, take a second to like and subscribe. We tell the stories people are too scared to say out loud, but always want to hear.
I didn't post anything for almost 2 weeks. During that time, I deleted TikTok from my phone twice. I re-downloaded it both times because of course I did. I couldn't help myself. It's like trying to ignore a storm outside your window while your roof's being torn off. Every time I scrolled, I saw something that reminded me of the mess I'd started. People using my audio in skits. Reaction videos titled, "Whose side are you on?" Clips from family therapists explaining the signs of emotional abuse, some of which used my mom's video as the example. I became a case study in digital estrangement. And yet, even though I hated how public it had become, I couldn't lie to myself. It was validating. Not the fame, not the algorithm, but the fact that people believed me. For most of my life, I felt like I was gaslighting myself. Like maybe I was too sensitive. Like maybe all moms acted like mine. Like maybe I just needed to be stronger. But now strangers were telling me, "No, you weren't crazy. That was real." And I was starting to believe them. Still, I couldn't shake the guilt. Every time I opened Instagram, I saw family posts. My aunt posted a picture of my mom holding a wine glass, caption, "Strong women are made, not born." The comment section was full of support. "You don't deserve this, sis. Keep your head up, queen. Some daughters only learn gratitude when it's too late." I nearly threw my phone across the room. One night, I got a DM. It was from a burner account, no profile pic, no bio. The message said, "Not everything needs to be shared online. You hurt her." I stared at the screen for a full minute before typing out a reply I never sent. She hurt me first, repeatedly, quietly, when no one was looking. Instead, I deleted the message. Then I cried. I felt trapped between telling my truth and being told to shut up because the truth made people uncomfortable. Between wanting to move on and being chained to a conflict I never asked to go viral. And just when I thought it couldn't get worse, my mom went live. It wasn't a long video. 10 minutes maybe. She didn't name me, but everyone knew who she was talking about. She said I was never perfect, but I was never abusive. She talked about cancel culture, how it turns children into accusers. She said I raised a daughter who wants the world to pity her instead of love her. That line broke me, because it was the same script I'd heard my whole life, just with better lighting and a ring light. She hadn't changed. She just got better at performing. I wanted to respond. God, I wanted to respond. But something inside me said, don't give them more to consume. Instead, I made a private account. No followers. No public videos. Just a digital journal. I started recording clips just for me, unedited thoughts, midnight rants, moments where I spoke directly to the version of myself I used to silence. It became therapy. A place where I could say things like, I'm not sorry for setting boundaries. She didn't get to define what love meant just because she gave birth to me. Maybe she's hurting too, but her pain doesn't erase mine. Eventually, I made a video I almost posted. It was simple, just me sitting on my floor saying, I didn't expect to go to war with my mother on TikTok, but here we are. I still love her, but I love myself more. I never published it, but just saying it out loud felt revolutionary. Around that time, something strange started happening. People who had attacked me in the comments started switching sides. Some said they rewatched the videos and noticed things they hadn't before. Others admitted they had moms like mine, but were too afraid to say it publicly. One person wrote, I owe you an apology. I saw your mom crying and assumed she was victim. I forgot you could both be hurting, but only one of you had the power growing up. That one made me cry in the shower. And yet, even with the tide turning, I didn't feel victorious. I felt hollow. Because this wasn't a win. This wasn't a game. This was my life. And even if the internet stopped caring tomorrow, I'd still be living with the aftermath. My mom hasn't reached out since that last text. No apology. No call. Nothing. But I did get an email from her lawyer. Apparently, she's considering legal remedies for defamation. I read it twice, then closed the tab. I haven't responded. I don't know if I will. Because at some point, this stopped being about who was right or wrong, and started being about who I wanted to become. I'm not the daughter who stays silent anymore. I'm not the kid begging to be understood. I'm a woman learning how to heal, even if it means doing it alone.
Still watching? Hit that like button and subscribe. These stories aren't just drama, they're a mirror. And if you've ever had to choose between your peace and your parents, you're not alone.
The worst part about going no contact isn't the silence. It's the doubt that creeps into that silence and whispers, what if you're wrong? Every holiday that passed, every birthday I didn't text, every memory that popped up on Facebook from years ago, each one chipped away at my certainty. Because here's the brutal truth, no one tells you about cutting off a parent. You don't stop loving them. You just learn to love them differently, from a distance, through locked doors and unlisted numbers. Some days I wish my mom had been a villain. That she screamed in public or left bruises I could show the world. It would have been easier to explain, easier to walk away from. But most of her damage came in subtleties. Weaponized silence. Backhanded compliments. Love that felt like a transaction. It's hard to make the internet understand emotional manipulation when it's dressed in pearls and passive aggressiveness. I kept seeing stitches of her video weeks after her live stream. Some creators took her side, others mine. A few didn't pick sides, they just used our story for content. One influencer even titled their video "Digital Custody Battles: The Rise of Parent versus Child Influencer Culture." That one made me want to vomit. Because this wasn't a trend. This was the collapse of a relationship I'd spent my entire life trying to preserve. And now it was reduced to clicks and hashtags. I decided I wouldn't post about her anymore. Not because she didn't deserve to be held accountable, but because I realized the more I made her the centerpiece of my story, the less I got to exist outside her shadow. I didn't want my platform to be built on pain. I wanted to create joy, connection, honesty, not just trauma porn. So I pivoted, quietly. My next video was about something dumb, ranking weird Trader Joe's snacks with my best friend. It got a fraction of the views. But I smiled more filming that one video than I had in months. And that mattered more than metrics. Eventually, I started going to therapy. Not virtual, not self-help TikToks, real therapy, in a room with a licensed professional. The first session, I cried so hard I couldn't speak for 5 full minutes. When I finally did, the first words out of my mouth were, "I don't know who I am without her voice in my head." And my therapist, bless her, just nodded and said, "Let's find out." In therapy, I unpacked years of things I thought were normal. How my mom would ask me to change clothes before family events because that outfit makes your arms look big. How she guilt-tripped me into staying home from college parties, saying she worried about what people would think if something happened to me. How she once threw away a birthday card I wrote her because I didn't put enough thought into it. I thought I was overreacting. But my therapist helped me realize something vital. Love without safety isn't love. It's control. A few months after everything blew up, I got a letter in the mail. Handwritten. No return address, but I knew the handwriting. It was from my mom. Inside a single page. No apology. Just lines like, "I hope someday you understand how hard I had it. You made me feel like a monster. I'm not perfect, but I did my best." I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I just felt tired. It wasn't an olive branch. It was a PR move written in cursive. I folded it up and tucked it in a drawer, not out of sentimentality, but as a reminder. Some people will never give you the closure you want, but that doesn't mean you can't heal without it. Now I wake up without checking if she posted something overnight. I eat meals without the voice in my head criticizing my choices. I laugh loudly, unapologetically, because I finally feel like I belong to myself. I still talk about family online, but on my terms. I talk about boundaries, about breaking cycles, about self-trust. Some people unfollowed. That's fine. I didn't start this journey to keep followers. I started to find myself. The internet made our fight viral, but it also gave me something unexpected. A community of people who said, "Me too." Who knew what it was like to love someone who hurt them. Who were still learning how to grieve the parent they wished they had while navigating the reality of the one they got. They weren't strangers anymore. They were mirrors. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel alone. So no, I didn't sign up for a digital custody battle, but maybe in some twisted way it saved me. Because before all this, I didn't know I had the right to choose myself, to step out of the narrative I was born into and write something new. Now, I'm the main character, and I don't need her permission to be free.
There's no clear winner in a digital custody battle. Just two broken people trying to hold on to their truth. When your pain goes viral, it stops belonging only to you. And in the comments, everyone becomes a judge, a therapist, a critic. So we ask you, when the people who raised us become the ones we need to escape, is silence an act of cruelty or self-preservation? Tell us what you think in the comments, because in the end, some truths don't trend, they just echo.